Howdy folks, welcome back to Sky Bees 2. Got some automation that I want to show off today, and that way I can document it and come back and look whenever I confuse myself in the next mod pack. We'll start off over here with the light well automation. I'm using the modular router. I think I showed this off before, but basically it's got an activator module. If we look at the configuration, he's just set to do the action of right click, looking forward. Has a puller module, pulling from the back. There's no configuration needed here, just set it to pull from the back because I have this half drawer back here with the aquamarine in it. The light well is there, and he'll put a aquamarine on it whenever it needs one. This is an off switch for it so that aquamarine doesn't get wasted. The light well gives off. If you look at the one probe up there, you'll see that stone brick says it's got a redstone power of 8 on it. The light well, when it's full, gives off redstone of 8. Anytime you put an aquamarine on it, or even a rock crystal, it gives off a power of 15. So if you were to set, if you notice this guy is set to redstone mode low, the modular router is set to redstone mode low, so when the redstone turns off, he'll run, put an aquamarine on it, and then this will turn it back off again. However, if you had this set to look for a power of 15, then when the aquamarine comes off, it would not turn on, or turn this off, and it would put an aquamarine up there and waste it anyway. So make sure whatever you're using on your comparator to give you a signal that you set it to power of 8, or else it'll still cycle and waste the aquamarine. Moving on, I got a sink, and underneath the pedal apothecary here, I have a modular router with a bucket and a fluid module. He's set to transfer into the router. If you look here, it's just set to front. He's facing the sink, and he's doing transfer into the router, 1,000 millibuckets. And then we have the activator module looking up. And he's just set to right click up, and basically whenever you do make a seed or make a flower in here, then it'll just immediately refill it for you. So that's a quick and painless way to do that. Energizing orbs from Powah. These things drove me batty until I gave up on the pipe dream of only having one energizing orb. Finally decided that you need at least 3, because some of your recipes only have one item. Notice how all these recipes down here in these interfaces only says creates 1 with 1. That's how this redstone is configured. This is a power only channel. I've got a piece of quartz fiber down there, so this becomes power only. And then each one of these links is separated with quartz fiber so that each one is essentially only 2 pieces. And I believe with the network tool, if I right click on either one of these heads, it'll tell me, yeah, so it says there's a level emitter, ME storage bus. And that's all that's on this network besides the quartz fiber and the cable. So, this is a quick and easy way to measure storage in something. And normally I don't have this power line here because I use an energy acceptor, but we were forbidden those in this pack, so I had to run power lines. Anyway, this ME storage bus is just sitting here reading what's in the energizing orb. This level emitter is set here to say if I see one item, notice there's nothing in here, but if I see one item, emit redstone level. That way, whenever the modular router, the interface is facing the modular router, so it puts the crafting recipe ingredients into the modular router, and then the sender is sending it up to the energizing orb. He's set to run on redstone mode low, and he's also he's got a regulator module installed here and set to 1, so he'll only send 1. Now that works fine as long as you're doing one type of item. Like if you're creating the using the blaze rods to make the I don't remember what they're called, the blazing crystals, then it works fine. But when you say you're doing 8 blazing rods and then you need to create 8 of the niotic crystals or whatever, the minute that it runs out and it has the last blaze rod in here, he gets a diamond and he'll send that up there because that diamond's not a blaze rod. So that's why you have to have these off switches in place. This one here is configured for 2. No, the regulator augment is set for 1 item because he'll get 2 items. Right now I only have 1 recipe in here, and that's to create energized steel. So it'll get it'll push out an iron and a gold ingot to the router, and the router will put them both in there because it is not they're both 1 of each item, and then this is the level emitter is set for 2. So that's how it does that. And then of course this one back here is the big boy. He's making the nitro crystals and the elite centrifuges. He's set for 3. Same concept for the rest of them. Set to send 1 item because he will get 1 of each of the items. Like the nitro crystal here takes a block of blazing crystal, block of redstone, and another star, and those are all 1 item of each type, and the router will push them in there, and then it'll lock itself because the emitter sees 3 items in there. And that's how I got around that, or how I got that to work finally. Couldn't do it with just 1 orb though, had to have 3. I've got 12 lasers up there. I've got 4 lasers pointed to the front orb. I've got just this 1 rod pointed to this one here, and then there's 7 pointed to this one. So crafting in this is pretty quick. It doesn't take forever like that. So it's a solid setup, works well. Over here, got some fluid crafting with AE2, and I cannot figure out why this lighting update keeps happening here like this, and it's also for some reason spawnable, but if I do a block update it goes away. I don't know, I'll probably move this. The only reason it's here is because there was a spare channel here, but essentially this is how I've got auto crafting with AE2 and fluids, because AE2 if it can handle fluids short of storing them, I haven't figured it out. But basically I have this tank here and it's got lubricant in it. And on this tank, you need to, oh, that's right, I broke it and put it back down. It needs to be on fill. Because what happens is the storage bus is it's got a recipe here to send 1 bucket over here. And it's going to push the bucket in here. And with it set on fill, it's going to fill the bucket up. And then there's a export bus set here, or not an export bus, but a import bus underneath set to pull the bucket of lubricant out. But that's how I do if I needed water for crafting or if I needed lava for crafting, this is how I would set them up. This is still an ongoing experiment for crafting, auto crafting here. These work okay. These crafting recipes work okay as long as I run 1 at a time. It can't do them in succession, so this isn't working as I planned. But if I come up with a better solution for this in the future, then I'll have to record it so that I can remind myself how I did it. I want to take a look real quick. One thing. The mechanism machines, whenever you do it, when you upgrade them, you get the non-processing slots, and if you have recipes in here, Applied Energistics doesn't move fast enough. If you do, like say this recipe right here, where if I had 1 osmium ingot to make 1 osmium dust, it would not put enough osmium ingots in this crushing factory while it's processing in order to fill up all of these slots. This machine is faster than AE can send them. So that's why all of my recipes, whenever I know that I need something, I craft 9. You can do whole stacks, you can do, anything that you want, but I do 9 because it allows me to make smaller batches with less stuff left over, potentially. So that's, but I highly recommend that, notice I have all of these are 9, except for this one. It makes, it can process 27 at a time. It moves pretty fast. And then down here we've got these. These are all set because they have a particular enriched plate that they need. But like this one, I'm pushing 2 stacks of netherite scrap and 16 of the enriched gold to process 32 netherite dust. So I can cook 1,000 netherite quite rapidly in this setup over here. Over here I've got this Annihilation plane and a formation plane set up. I'm using 2 channels from, in order to just keep my network tool out so that I can do this. I believe it's this one here. Yeah. So this P2P here, I'm using 8 channels, but there's only 2 being used on this network. It's this import bus and this interface. The other 6 are being used down there in the Pneumaticraft stuff. And the way that this is accomplished is this interface is sitting here, and it's going to push 8 oak logs or 8 stone or black concrete or polished black stone. The black concrete, I will just do real quick, like this is where I'm processing the black concrete. You got a fluid encapsulator. He sends 1 black concrete powder that gets crafted. There's a crafting recipe in the system. Pushes it in here, turns it into black concrete, and then it gets sent down here. This order up here is kind of important because I don't know that there's any other crafting recipe required for the polished black stone. What you need out of this is the sky stone, which is down here. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. What you need out of it is the sky stone. That's the big ingredient. So the reason that I have the polished black stone before the black concrete is because whenever I do the crafting of sky stone, it will start automatically filling this back up because I have it underneath down there set to keep some in stock. And I want to make sure that the sky stone is processed first. So that's why the polished black stone is first. The way that these guys here are all set up, when I right click on him, you'll see there's only five items in use. So there's only 5 channels on this segment. That's why it's configured like this. I have the storage bus down here so that there's only one place for any of these particular items to go to make sure that the Annihilation planes wait until they process. Back here I have a quartz fiber splitting these 2 segments up, so there's 4 planes on each side and then 1 storage bus, or in the case of the top, 1 import bus. Notice I have power being sent to these 2 from this interface because I have the quartz fiber separating them and they're pushing the power out. There's also a quartz fiber in between these 2 here, in between your 2 import buses or 2 storage buses, and also separating it out. So there's only 5 devices on each one of these channels so that I can have all 8 spots that Pure Daisy will use. I'm going to have to wall this up because when this runs, every time they process, it lags. So I'm hoping that walling it up and making it not render will stop that lag. That's the reason why my mob farm is not open or doesn't have any glass, so that there's no rendering of the mobs required so they don't lag me out ever. All right. Got our Pneumaticraft set up back here. We'll start here with the pump. I've got a flux compressor. I'm using 4-speed upgrades and a security upgrade so that if it pushes up above 20 or close to 20, it'll vent a little bit, but I haven't had any problems with it after getting it set up. I've got 4 speed upgrades in here because that's how many it'll have. It'll go, if this device, if I make any plastic or anything over here, it will go up to about 46 C, and it'll hold there. If it goes over 50 C, then it starts losing efficiency, and I would prefer it to be a little bit slower and fully efficient versus going faster and be less efficient. This is a pressure gauge 2 module. It's facing down so that the redstone can pick it up. And this device, as you can see, is set to enable on low signal. So when this stops emitting redstone, right now it's just set to emit when greater than 19.5 R. And then I've got the 3 heat sinks on it that help keep it cooled down. I've got a XNet controller here, and all this is doing literally is just moving the fluids from the refinery outputs to the TPPs, to the fluid encapsulators, centrifugal separator. Basically, it's just moving the fluids around in that stack back here. This back here is to make the plastic. One thing I'll talk about real quick here, notice I've got 2 regulator tube modules, one going that way and then one going here. So this line back here, notice it's at 19.5 bar with a max of 20 bar, and then that over there is all my max pressure of 5 bar stuff. This regulator tube module by default will let you put it on there, and it'll let you cut down from the 20 bar to the 5 bar so you can have high pressure system maintain your low pressure devices. And all this is over here is the assembly platforms and the pressure chamber. This one over here is it's the advanced, or it's got the advanced PCB on it so that I can set it, and I have him set to when it's running to run at about 10 bar, because that's all the pressure I need in the vortex tube in order to maintain the temperatures I need. I also have a 3rd regulator tube module here, so these guys don't blow up. They go up to 5 when it's running, and it takes care of that. This vortex tube, it's got the heat over here to heat the tower, and it's got the cool here to the heat frame to cool it off, so that whenever the liquid plastic comes in here, it'll cool it off. I'll turn it on in a minute so we can watch it run, and you can see it's pretty quick. I have a centrifugal separator here being fed bituminous sand, and a level emitter that's looking to see how much plastic sheets I have in the system to turn it off. That's also what this level emitter down here is doing. It's looking for the same number of plastic sheets so that it will cut off the pressure going to the vortex tube, and because the vortex tube is set there and run forever, and there's no need for that. If I'm not making plastic, there's no need for any of this stuff to run. But I still have my low pressure feeding all those devices, and if and when I decide to use a drone, I'll have a spot here. Of course, we got our refinery controller back here. The centrifugal separator is just sitting to push out the back, pushes liquids out the back, and all the other stuff goes down back into the interface that's under it. Notice that there's thermal lagging on every spot that does not have another block on it. If there's another block on it, then it will count as the cover. If you don't have anything or another block on that side of it, then you need a thermal lagging so that it doesn't lose heat. This first thermo-pneumatic, or TPP, thermo-pneumatic processing plant, he's getting the diesel from the tower and making the lubricant. You need the lubricant for the speed upgrades. So I did have more than this, but I've made a lot of speed upgrades recently. This one up here is it's getting the kerosene and making gasoline, and then pushing the gasoline up using a dispenser upgrade. Because this one up here is getting the gasoline and making the LPG, and then pushing that LPG up. And then this one is getting LPG, mixing it with coal and turning it into molten plastic. which is then being sent over here to this fluid encapsulator, which fills up a bucket and then sticks the bucket in this barrel to be cooled. He's basically just pushing and pulling buckets, whether they be filled or emptied. Like I said, I would do a while ago. We'll turn it on. I don't really need any more, but we'll back it up and we'll say give us 2010. Do I have more than 2010? Apparently I do. We'll just send it up to 2100 then. And then I click on this guy so that I can get the air pressure going. Now you notice this one's making the oil and everything and sending the oil back here. Temperature's already up there from the vortex tube. You can see the temperature on the hot side is already above 200 C. At 10 bar, the 10 bar that it's getting, I think it gets up to about 900 C and holds there. And the cold side is at about 270 C, which gives me the bonus that I've seen. Usually one plastic bucket will almost always give me 2 plastic sheets. That one only gave me 1. Yeah, there we go. So you get a chance for a bonus every time. Now I said that, and look, it's not going to give me but 1. No, it is 2. Okay, yeah. So if you set that vortex tube up, you can like that. You can get a good bonus for it. Anyway, that is the Pneumaticraft stuff. This there's other ways to redstone control this, but this was the cleanest way that I found to do it. We're going to move on from that now that we see it running. Yeah, he'll finish up and shut off. We'll come over here. This is how I'm sending comb to be processed by centrifuges, and we'll take a look at the centrifuge setup in a minute. These are industrial foregoing item transporters. On the sending side, there's nothing over here except for I added a speed and efficiency upgrade. You just right-click with the upgrade on the outer edge and it will install it. On the receiving side, I'm telling it that we're going to whitelist and regulate mode enabled, and I want to keep 16 of each of these comb in this ender chest. And you can see he's doing a real nice job keeping them filled up. This one up here, we've got, yeah, this is the smaller chest. But anyway, that's, it works. I love those things. I think they used, what did they used to be called? Translocators, I think was what they were called. They were fantastic back in the day, and I'm glad Industrial Foregoing has them because they saved me a headache after I figured out they were in here. We'll go real quick. This is the compact machine where I'm keeping my centrifuges. This is my current centrifuge setup. I'll probably be setting up a couple more if I need them. Right now I don't need them because I'm only, I believe it's one of these up here. Not that one. Yeah, it's this one. So I've still got 4 more combs because I have each one of these set up to process 6 different types of comb. And that's how these item transporters are set. I want to keep 8 of 6 different types of comb in each one of these. So that's how those are set up. And I've got 4 more I can go that I'm not processing yet. I pretty much did all of the metals and all of the stuff except, I'm not doing any of the mod drop ones yet. I'm going to figure out a way to process those and send them straight to like a singularity creator or something. Not real sure exactly how I want to do that, but they'll go on that side. There's plenty of room for another 8 centrifuges over there if I need them. And then I'm just pulling everything out using ultimate pipe upgrades and the universal pipe, sending all the drop or the things that they craft in here, all of the materials. I guess we can't see them because it's moving too fast. and the honey gets sent here, and then I have the ender tank there sending out, turning the honey into blocks. I have, one of the reasons why I wanted to try to do that is because I have, like this one, this is where my chaos comb gets processed, and my chaos comb, you know, I've got 2 of the bees, but they still don't process or still don't create comb fast enough for the centrifuge to not keep up and, you know, over create or over make them or whatever. So I wanted to make sure I always had a slot ready for when the chaos combs were available. They would come in and get processed. That 1% drop, yep, see, there we go, we've got chaos honeycomb coming in now. That 1% drop rate for chaos shards off of those is ridiculous. I swear it's not 1%, because I've processed probably almost 1,000 combs at this point, and that's all the chaos shards. I have 13 large, and that's out of almost 1,000 stacks of comb. It's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, this is where the honey's being turned into honey blocks. They're being stored in a drawer over there. This is the import for the materials. You can see them, they come in pretty rapid rate. Get taken care of. This is the comb coming in, being stored. Pretty efficient system, it seems like. It doesn't seem to lag me a lot or anything. Go down here, if I can stand on the block. There we go. This is where my ME controller is. Because of the lack of energy acceptors in applied energistics, you have to have all of this gaudy cable loops for power and stuff. Extraordinarily annoying, but I learned to live with it. This is where I keep my stock of items. This is, you know, it's where I keep skystone, blackstone, living wood, living rock, fluid steel, 1Ks, because the 1Ks take forever to craft in the machine up there, and then of course processors. This is a setup for making potions. I was making potions so I could make some of the add-ons for Draconic Evolution. You kind of have to have 3 different interfaces or connections on this. You got to have the interface to send the recipe in, and I'm also keeping blaze powder stocked in here so it can keep this full. It's just pulling it in directly. Back here I've got an export bus exporting the glass bottles to be turned into, filled into water bottles and turned into potion. And then this import bus will pull in splash potions. I see I need to add my splash potion of swiftness to this. Let's do that while I'm here. I must have made the recipe and forgot to add this one. Is it 2? It doesn't say 2. I would almost swear it has to be the second one here, because this is the one that needs glowstone. Yeah. I'll go ahead and drag that in there so it can pull that in too. Up here, I've got a creation to craft the upgrades for the pipes mod. If you are having trouble with that, this is how I've done it. Basically, each one of these are set to pull out whatever fluid is needed for that particular one. And I have a similar setup where each one of these, this is all configured for power only up here. Notice the fiber cables. So it's only sending power up. This storage bus is reading the table. And then the level emitter is looking for whatever should be in there to craft. And that's how it turns on the faucet to pour out the fluid and make it. Over here is where the items get put in. So put my network tool, my shrinking device back up so I'll show you. We'll get up here where we can see. go ahead and tell it. I can craft any one of them that I want, and it'll pull it out, because the export bus down here is set to pull any one of them out and put it back into the system. The way that it's doing that is that there's a storage bus underneath each one of the tables. Up here, and we'll click on that, and we'll just say create me one. Oh, it says I already have an advanced one in there. Which one don't I have? I would just take these two out so that it'll make the whole run. All of them, right? Yeah, okay. Now it says it needs to craft them all. And right now this, I'd have to get over here to see it. Yep, it's got the emerald. Now this one's always on. He's not set to really look for anything. He's just always going to be on, because emerald's the only thing that will ever be pumped out of that one and into that cast. And notice the cast is there, so it sent the iron in and melted it down. And that's going to pull it out and move it over there, and now it's ready to go. Just got to wait for the gold to melt down. And it's going to do the same thing and wait for the diamond to melt down. I don't know why that one gets put in there sideways like that. But anyway. You'll get down to the end and wait for the netherite, and then it'll be done. But anyway, that is a lot of automation stuff that I have done up to this point. Look at the quest book here. I've pretty much completed all of the stuff. Mechanism is the only one that I haven't really dug into. Last pack I played was heavy on mechanism, so I kind of didn't get into mechanism a lot, and wanted to play with a lot of these other mods. But now I'm going to get in and get down to crafting all this stuff for mechanism, and get back into setting up a reactor and doing all of that stuff. So maybe I will come back with some more automation on how I'm doing that. The Draconic Evolution, kind of been working through some of this. I really don't care for any of these tools. I mean, by the time you get here, you don't need them for anything. Like, I have no purpose or no use for any of these tools. But I guess I'll craft them just to do the quest. I'm not sure that I'm going to worry with this ultimate singularity, just because it's just going to be an extraordinary amount of time waiting. I've got the processing back there set up to gear towards doing it for the most part. I still need to come in and do, like the rotten flesh and blaze and gunpowder and such, but I may set it up that way it can run while I'm doing the mechanism stuff, but it's unlikely I'm going to wait around for all that, because the majority of these for the singularities, there's 50,000 blocks. And whenever you're looking at ingots, that's just not, it's just wasting, it's just waiting. I'll move on to another pack and not wait for that. But, and then of course I've done basically all of this, as you can see, except for those. So anyway, that's where I am now. Hopefully I'll have some interesting things to come back and talk about with mechanism. But anyway, if there's any of these devices that I have set up that you would like more information on, or if you've got a better way to do it, by all means, leave a comment. I look forward to seeing what everybody thinks. Thank you.